Mountain, Island, Lightning Bolt, Spell Pierce, Switchblade, Stab Wound, Red Mage, Blue Mage.
It's been 20 years since we recorded an episode.
It's like
All you do is play Magic with other people now. You don't want to talk to me anymore.
That's not true.
Don't be so serious. This is a bit, Kenny. God.
Oh, I mean, who needs you?
All right, bye. Talk to you later. Never again, because I'm done. Woo.
Gosh, I got baited into that.
Hi.
Hi. Who are you?
I don't know anymore. I've lost all sense of self.
I'm Kenny. And I play blue.
Oh, it's coming back to me a little bit now. Kenny plays blue. Red. I sense the color red.
Is someone in the audience? Is the color red important to you?
Yes. Did somebody close to you, but not too close to you, have several weeks of being exhausted by work and things?
Oh, over
it's
here.
It's Amber. It's Amber. And I play red. Okay, hi. That was a really long introduction. I'm sorry.
Playing a TV psychic.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. So work's been a grim nightmare.
It's very true. I don't have time to do anything, really.
And yet, we persist.
Yep, and here I am.
Here we are.
Yet again.
Yeah.
Talking about magic.
Yeah.
The Gathering.
I wonder...
Yes?
Remember last time I texted you and said I heard myself on your side of the recording?
Do you think it's my headphones?
I think so, because I just heard myself coming back through. You gotta get some real headphones. Or turn me way down.
Alright. Talk now.
Hello.
Yep.
Hey! This is Kenny.
I could always pull back when you talk.
I guess that seems like a pretty jank solution.
Well, I exercise.
Oh, we need the stream right now, as we're both like basically the perpetual motion birding our microphones.
I can't get close to my microphone when you talk, so we can't do this. So, all right, whatever. We'll just roll with it.
It's fine.
Who cares if it's fine? Nobody cares.
I just put a little music in there. You don't even notice.
Yeah, exactly.
Incoming flood of emails when that episode comes out.
Nobody listens to our show.
It hurts because it's true.
If you listen to our show, please let us know, because, like, God.
And also, God bless you.
What am I doing this for?
We're doing it because we enjoy it.
Oh, is that why?
Oh, right. Why don't we get started? You pile of shit.
I'm just...
I don't remember how to do this, and then you're just a butthole to me the whole time. You remember.
It's all coming back
like
to me.
Riding a bicycle.
Sure.
All right. So what are we doing tonight?
Fuck if I know.
I like listening to podcasts, and the hosts are like, throw it to you. All right, now you pick it up and throw it. And I'm like, all right, what are we doing? Who knows?
Just let it drop to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a pudding cup of shame. Yes?
Here's what we're doing. We're introducing a new segment that we kind of had informally before, but we're doing it for real this time. It's time for the first official show and tell. What's that coming on down the bend? Looks like some magic articles and or videos. Guess it's time for another show and tell.
What if I have nothing to show or tell?
You do. It's in the episode notes.
I'm not looking at them currently.
So for show,
as I stare.
For show and tell, the idea is that you and I both bring something to the table, some piece of magic-related content. So maybe a video, or an article, or a podcast, or this or that, and we're like, here, check this out, and then we discuss.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say more.
Nope. That's all I got.
Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, we've already been doing this.
We did it
already.
We did it once before.
With baby magic.
That's right.
And God knows what else.
And mine was, it was about power levels in Commander.
Oh,
yeah. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Kind of.
All right.
Wait, it's coming back to me. This is the theme to this.
Someone out there.
Someone out there. Do you remember the word commander? Is it commander an important word to you?
Someone out there, your mother played a degenerate Sisay commander deck.
I don't know what that means.
So Sisay is this bullshit commander. She's like a green-white legend, and she lets you search your library for other legendary cards.
Okay, that sounds fun.
It's not.
Why?
Any commander, and I say this as a person who plays Ark of Dagson and never actually plays it, commanders that let you search your library just suck all the fun out of the game.
Nope, I enjoy watching somebody pick up 89 cards, rifle through it, and then reshuffle their card.
No.
It's very like ASMR to me. I just go into this like the tranquil state. I become
you enter a
like,
trance
at
state.
Peace. I enter a peaceful tranquil state. Whatever you said, because I've lost my train of thought thinking about the cards shuffling together.
No.
It just relaxes me so much.
When that happens, I know what you do. You say, "Kill me."
What? I always give honest depictions of how I interact on this podcast. Always, 100%. I am 100% relater of truths. I am honest. I know who I am through and through, and I enjoy watching and listening to people shuffle hundreds of cards together.
Yeah, I mean, I got cards here. If you wanted some quick ASMR.
Hey, quit the podcast. Let's just put me to sleep.
All right, hold on.
Cocks the shotgun.
I
Oh,
like that.
Yeah. Open it up.
It's a real deck.
That's not 100 cards.
I was trying to get away with it on the stream. Fine.
There's 100 cards, or close to. Don't shuffle your commander.
I would never. He has his own separate area in my deck box. Ugh.
What is this horrible face? Please stop. You're ruining it. You're ruining the card shuffling.
All right, there you go. A treat for everyone.
I didn't even hear anything.
What? You serious? All right, be quiet while I do this, all right? You ready?
Mm-hmm. That sounded like you farted.
Cards.
Wow, this is great at podcasting right now.
That's some editing I've just assigned myself right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Show and tell. Are we doing mine first? My show and tell?
I think yours is more serious, and mine I didn't prepare for, so we should probably do mine first, so we
Okay.
can end on a nice better ending than just a poo pile of. I don't know, just a poo pile.
Well, with a cell like that,
Let's talk about my poo pile.
What are you bringing to show and tell, Amber?
So, I don't really know, honestly. I just put down Cult of Rakdos, and I don't even remember what I linked to, because it's been 3 weeks.
I can fill in the blanks here. Now, let's get into it. You said to me when we were doing this, you're like, I want to talk about cults.
Because right now, I'm role-playing a cultist. If I had a cult, what do you think it would be about?
You, Amber?
Yes.
That's a good question. Well,
It's not gonna be like Rakdos, that's for fucking sure.
No, I think honestly, I was thinking about this earlier today. So you were just saying you are role-playing a cultist right now, and your cult that you've devised in this role-playing world is focused around the dweller within. That yes, everybody has a god that literally lives inside them. Mm-hmm. And so this is trying to teach people to care for the dweller within.
Care for themselves, because if they care for themselves, then they
right. You're trying
to take care of the temple.
Right. Your body literally is a temple for the dweller, and if you do that, the dweller will bless you. And I was thinking that it kind of fits you. You're very growth oriented. You're all about developing yourself. And I think it's sort of like, I don't know, I think I was thinking about, you like the idea of this once upon a time, this cult was not, like, they were not making any kind of metaphysical claims about actual gods living inside you. It got corrupted over time.
So basically what happened was, and this is why I'm interested in the Cult of Rakdos, because I didn't really find too much that was, like, in depth about, like, I'm sure there probably is. I just didn't do a very good job searching. But, like, for me, it was interesting how stuff does get warped over time or taken out of context or misunderstood, and then people build whole belief structures around something. And specifically for the cult that I made up for the Zwalhender game I'm in, it's like I very much was trying to think, well, how did this cult come to be? And I think a lot of times it is like somebody who starts out as, we just want to help. Like, literally, all we want to do is help you. Like, here's some good practices. Here's some good, like, mantras, some good, like, practices that you should do. It's good for your spirituality, blah, blah, blah. And then people just become obsessed with it. They just start to get their nasty, dirty human mitts all over things and be very, very human about it. And commoditizing it and taking advantage of people and manipulating people. And so that's why I made the cult I did, where it's like this actually originated from outside of humans, literally ogres, and they're really just trying to teach people how to take care of themselves, because, like, you shouldn't poop in the streets. Like, if you're gonna have to do waste, maybe you should think about, like, putting it someplace else, or like maybe it's a good idea to rinse your mouth out every once in a while because your teeth will rot. And have you considered eating broccoli, because all you eat is sausage, and maybe it would help with your bowel movements, that kind of stuff. And then people, because we're taught, they're very fervent about, like, you have to take care of what's inside of you, and just along the way people have warped that into there's literally a god inside of you. And so my character, she's at this point where she's been here among the humans long enough where she's seen this, like, new religion kind of come out of their teachings, and is actually kind of starting to believe it herself. And now she's at the point where the Dweller is a thing to her as well. Cults are interesting to me just in general. Like, I like true crime, I like human psychology. And then you have the Cult of Rakdos. Like, I'm literally a part of the structure of Ravnica with the guilds. And this guild is literally a cult. It's strong enough, it's large enough, it's organized enough to be like a known entity on this, a citywide
influential
planet.
Entity.
Yes. So that's why I brought it up. Why I'm interested in talking about it.
For sure. And we're looking at, in particular, a World Anvil entry on Ravnica. So, like,
this is what you found, right?
And I found it at first just because this, right off the bat, had some really interesting, like, lore stuff about Rakdos. But actually, this is for playing a role-playing game based around, like, that you would for, like, J. Spellrun Must Die, or in just the setting of Ravnica. And this is if you want to play a character who is a member of the Cult of Rakdos. But it's also just giving you some background. And the first line, I remember I found this, and I sent the first line to you, and you're like, oh, yes. And the first line for the Cult of Rakdos is, tomorrow is an illusion, everything is ridiculous. Which I thought is, like, a brilliant encapsulation of their philosophy, their outlook on the world.
Live for today and be entertained, essentially. Like, that's what life is. Just live for now, and why not have fun? And their fun is
murder.
A little murdery. So it's like, I also like it too because, like, the campaign I'm in, Eat the Rich, also has a lot, like, we're basically hunting nobles and bringing basically a dismantled monarchy. Like, the rich have fallen, there's been a revolution, and we're just, like, collecting these nobles who are going to be punished, and we're doing it for money, essentially. And I like that, like, part of the Cult of Rakdos is like just skewering powerful elites.
Yeah.
What does it say? From rowdy mobs who love to see the Rakdos skewer the powerful elites to decadent socialites who come to Rakdos for illicit amusements. Most of Rakdos people don't really want the Rakdos to go away as much as they might publicly protest otherwise. So it's like, we look down on you and we're not going to tell anybody that we like this cult because they're doing basically the stuff that we want to be doing.
Right.
And we kind of can live vicariously through watching them.
Yeah, it's very much in the vein of like the gladiatorial arena, where it's like we long for the bloodshed that we would not partake in ourselves, or like
right.
Hockey fights and stuff like that. That's the Cult of Rakdos in a way, except much more like BDSM.
I'm interested in like what makes a cult a cult, because really it just says veneration and devotion directed toward a particular figure or object. And my thing is like there's so many things can just be defined as a cult that way.
Yeah.
Like just so much. So what, like, to me it's like one of those things where it's like Cult of Rakdos, even it I don't really like, how's it a cult? Because
it's an accepted institution on the world.
Right. Like to me a cult is something that we see as like
fringe,
aberrant.
Yeah,
you know, and like they're obviously manipulating or taking advantage of people in a way, and this seems very much like people just want to join this. It's a club. It's like Club of Rakdos.
Although, as a counterpoint to that, like in the modern day, we have this idea of like personality cults. So like you think about like North Korea and the cult to the Dear Leader. That is very much core to that institution is core to that culture. So it's not fringe, it's not aberrant in that culture. But then again, in the context of that culture, it wouldn't be thought of as a cult. We only call it a cult from the outside, looking in, you know? Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the sense that the Cult of Rakdos is a cult.
Yeah.
It clearly is like a personality cult. Like his name is in.
Yeah, 100%. So, because like I keep looking up, I'm Googling right now, and it's like a small religious group that is not part of a larger, more accepted religion, and that has beliefs regarded by many as extreme or dangerous.
And that does fit Rakdos.
That does fit Rakdos, because even though, I mean, they are a part of a larger whole that is obviously not like we don't respect or like, you know, but you have your place.
Right.
Because you do this stuff. Because that's another thing I saw, you know, because every guild has like a function within the in the city world. What is it they do? They're basically
entertainers.
Like entertainers, but there was more to it. There was like other.
There was,
I saw it just a minute ago.
As laid out in the Guild Pact, the guild was intended to fill roles concerning entertainment, mining, and manual labor.
Just a lot of gallivanting around and shaking booties and
it's almost
murder.
It's almost like what's a good way to put it? I was going to say something along the lines of they're like casinos almost, where most of society looks at casinos and is like, that's something you do every once in a while. It's like seedy. We're not totally approving of it. And yet casinos can like drive the economy in like the cities they're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me.
I'm reading more about it. So like Public Agenda. So this website has a segments, and it's really interesting to me. It always cracks me up because it's like, I'm not a very like, how do I say this?
Yeah.
I do not think I have the knowledge base nor the intellect to discuss in depth societal structures and systems.
Sure.
But it always cracks me up when there's like something like this cult that is, you know, centered on Rakdos himself. And it says the cult's chaotic nature fuels its passion, impulsiveness, and obsession with freedom. So they're obsessed with being free, yet somehow belong to this cult where you're supposed to be chaotic and evil and lust for power, extreme selfishness, lack of compassion.
Yeah, it's this organization devoted to chaos.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to get to. It cracks me up. Like, here's this org that literally says we don't like organization, but we're gonna center all of our stuff on, and that's fine. It's just like, it's a weird way. I wish there was a better way to say it, because it's more like, I don't know. It's interesting to me.
Yeah.
So here's the background. Oh, this is guild background. Nope, this is just for D&D. Okay.
I was gonna say, speaking of that, they have features down below. And so one of the features, if you take this as like your background, Rakdos, it's called a flair for the dramatic. Rakdos performance typically fuse standard circus acrobatics with fire, wrought iron spikes and hooks, and monsters. You can roll a d8 or choose from the options below to determine your preferred performance.
Oh my god, can I please read these names?
Yes, please.
Okay, so there's 8. So you can be a spike wheel acrobat. Okay, cool. A lamp-honing satirist.
Mm-hmm.
Fire juggler. All right, whatever. Marionette puppeteer. Okay. Paint artist.
Tybalt.
All right, getting a little bit Tybalt here. Noise musician.
That's you.
Nightmare clown. And the master of ceremonies.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tag yourself.
I'm a nightmare clown.
I thought for sure you were going to be noise musician.
I don't do that.
That's a great turn of phrase, noise musician.
Noise musician. Yeah, it's probably, I think of God. Never mind. Cut that out. I don't think of anything. My brain is just a noise in there. It's just a noise musician inside my brain right now.
My dweller within is a noise musician.
It's just got a hurdy-gurdy and whatever, a droning machine and a cowbell or something. It's just making a noise.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's very interesting.
And a vuvuzela.
Yeah, there is kind of a contradiction
Vuvuzela.
inherent in Rakdos, isn't there?
I like it.
Especially,
I like contradictions.
Also, like, with the idea of, like, freedom, I'm, beholden to no one. Also, Rakdos is the master of this cult, and we all are, paying honor and homage to him.
I think my next fanfic is going to be about Rakdos, because I don't know anything of him, and I have this perception of what he's like.
Mm-hmm.
So I should definitely make another vignette of Rakdos. I just do a bunch of vignettes of characters.
You
I'm going to do one with Jace, honestly. Today I got up again, and it was the worst. My coffee sucked. It was so weak. Like me.
You should do a vignette of Jace getting a report about the Jace Beleren Must Die crew and him just dismissing it, or what his thoughts are about it. That'd be very funny.
I should do that. I will do that.
Write that down, yeah.
I'll make a note of that.
Okay.
Well, I don't have anything to write down. I just have a bunch of napkins and a phone, Kenny. We'll
get to it after the show.
All right, sorry.
We should get into my object for show and tell.
Okay, yes, sorry. I was very much like the Cult of Rakdos. I had no plan, no real organization, and now I should just stop.
Organized chaos.
Yes.
Okay, so.
All right.
My object that I'm bringing into show and tell is an article. It's from Channel Fireball. It is an article by Connor McLeod, aka Spice 8 Rack. And the article is called Why Flavor Text and Art Matter More Than You Think. And this is published last year, October 29th, 2019.
I've read it.
Yes. I was going to ask you, what is your summary of this article?
So basically, it's one of those things where I think the point of the whole article was you can't take art, card mechanics, names and everything, and the flavor text and kind of develop them in a void. It's almost like you have to... It's like flavor text can't be an afterthought. It needs to help. It helps prop up the art and also is a huge storytelling element. Mm-hmm. And when it's like we talked about, we had to pick a card several episodes ago about our like worst
flavor
worst flavor, where it's like you have a really cool card with a cool mechanic, and then you have something stupid that doesn't make any goddamn sense because it's like it was a throwaway joke, or they didn't really think it through, or
like the example from that was Mortify, and it was showing Soren turning someone to dust, and then the flavor text was very goofy and didn't work with the rest of the card.
It didn't work. It could have been something a little bit more deep and
ominous.
Yeah, and instead it's just like, that's what you get for looking at an angry vampire. And it's like, okay, great job, flavor text. It really brings the whole thing down. Right. So good flavor text can just like really like lift a magic card, like.
And especially not even just lift it, but recontextualize it and cause you to totally reevaluate what you think of the card, the art, everything that's going on with it.
Yes, exactly.
And in particular, so like he gives an example of this working in a really good way with Reckless Cohort. So this is a card from Battle for Zendikar, 1 in a red, human warrior ally, a 2/2. It attacks each combat if able, unless you control another ally. So just kind of a very run-of-the-mill card. And it shows in the art, there are two people fighting like Eldrazi tentacles. There's a guy swinging a sword, cutting a tentacle. There's a woman behind him swinging a sword. So it kind of doesn't do a whole lot by itself. It's just people fighting.
Yeah.
But McLeod writes, all this is to say that we're focused entirely on this battle, and then the flavor text hits us. The flavor text says, you have a family. Mine died at Seagate. You go to yours, and I'll go to mine. And he's making the point that with this flavor text, now you look at this art, and you're seeing this person making a sacrifice, like, my family is dead. I'm going to die here so I can be with them. You go on and live. Go home to your family. Totally elevates what would be a very kind of run-of-the-mill card and gives us a sense of what this war on Zendikar for existence feels like.
Mm-hmm. God, I really like that flavor text too, because it's like what I always strive for in writing. It's like a show don't tell kind of situation, masterclass, and like saying, hey, I'm just gonna die because I don't have anybody left.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So you got stuff, you got family, you go off and you save yourself. Save yourself. I got nobody to live for.
There's nothing left for me.
Yeah.
McLeod gives a great example at the beginning with the famous 3-line short story, For Sale, Baby Shoes, Never Worn. And then to show this show don't tell premise, he writes an alternate version that means exactly the same thing. Do you want to read that one?
Yeah, I love it. So it's For Sale, Baby Shoes. He died. He did. My baby dead.
It means exactly the same thing, but it just, like you're saying, elevates it so much.
It hits you in a different way. I always like that too in reading books, where it's like you have your own headspace, mm-hmm. right? Like the minute that goes into a movie format, which I'm not saying that's bad, but it's like anything that you built in your own head just becomes this other thing now, right. And if it's done poorly, it just...
Right.
It's like Game of Thrones.
Right. And now every time you read this book, you're thinking about this character's bad performance, and you can't get rid of that now. And
that's the same kind of feeling I get from... I like things that make you think a little bit more. Like, I mean, Never Worn, I mean, yeah, he died, but how, and how sad, and like, oh my gosh, just immediately we visualize these sad baby shoes.
Yeah.
Sad family.
And then
he died is like a slap in the face.
Yeah, it's like wah, wah, wah.
Oh, he died.
Yeah, exactly. And he says in this moment, he says...
Clown musician.
He says... noise musician.
Noise musician or a nightmare clown.
He says, it's just a slight shift in the clarity-ambiguity balance. And I think that's really important.
Yep.
So it's interesting because this article has this broader point about how flavor text can elevate or really detract from a card and its meaning. Right. But it's really about one card in particular. And this article wants to make a point about this one card and what it means for Magic in general.
Right.
So, the card is Doomed Artisan.
Which I'm sure as soon as people hear this who play Magic will know what this article is potentially about, you think? Or do you think this is like under the radar? Was this big news?
I think it's kind of under the radar. I mean,
really?
This card even, like, it was published in one of these, like, sets that isn't in the mainstream. I forget what set it is, but I could be wrong about this. But the card is Doomed Artisan, 2 and a white for a creature, a human artificer. It's a 1/1. It says, sculptures you control can't attack or block. At the beginning of your end step, create a colorless sculpture artifact creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of sculptures you control. Okay, fine. The art depicts a man, kind of looks like an Esper person. I don't know if it is supposed to be or not, but he is missing his right arm, and it's been replaced with a mechanical arm. And it shows him sculpting a bust of himself. But his right arm is, as it was, it's like a fleshy arm, basically.
Yeah.
And behind him, you can see many more of these sculptures. So he's been making many of them. And McLeod jumps in and says, there's ambiguity here. Like, what are the possibilities for what's going on here? So, like, just looking at the art itself, like, you were just saying, like, how the context can kind of ruin it for you, or, like, seeing the movie adaptation can ruin it. Can you now look at this art and see it for itself?
No.
Yeah. So it's
gone.
Let's just give the flavor text so people don't wonder what we're saying.
Well, I mean, like, if I was to try and, like, re-experience it without it, it just looks like this guy who's obviously obsessed with this thing that he's doing.
Right.
And to me, it's just like he just keeps making the same thing over and over again. So what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
That's literally all I think. And then, like,
there's definitely a degree of obsession here.
Yeah, because there's multiples of, like, we can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 in the background.
And it kind of blurs into the back where you get the sense that there's many of these things.
There's 7 at least that I can depict. And then 8 with the one in the foreground. And then there's him in the middle chiseling away. And yeah, I can see that has an arm, and it's not the same as his mechanical arm. Mm-hmm. So it's like, he's obsessed with making the statue of himself, but why?
Right.
You know, what's the obsession point?
That's that ambiguity. We don't know why.
Yeah.
And then he's like, the flavor text just kind of wrecks that ambiguity.
Right.
And the flavor text says, remember me not as I am, but as I should have been. And so now this flavor text, like, makes it so you know exactly what's happening here with this flavor text added, and that he's, like, feels himself deficient because he's missing his arm, even though he has a mechanical appendage.
Yeah.
But
which is, like, I don't know, shitty.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what the last portion of this article is really getting at. It's talking about disability representation in Magic cards, and how there's not a lot of it in Magic. Actually, Duretti is
Duretti.
an example of that.
Got a sweet fucking hover chair or whatever it is.
Yeah.
This throne.
Yeah. But this is just kind of furthering the narrative of, like, disability is... I remember Stella Young's TED Talk. She talks about how, as a culture, we have this idea that disability is a bad thing, capital B, capital T. What a lie that is. And this card, with the flavor text included, is part of that narrative. That it's like, this is how I should have been. I shouldn't... If I were complete, I would have my arm that I was born with. And it's just, it's not good.
It's so weird. Because, like, especially if it's, like, trying to say that he obviously had no arm when he was born, like, as I should have been, that implies that he never had an arm, in my reading of it, right?
Yeah, potentially.
But, like, what...
And McLeod points out, like, in the context of this card and the art, like, this guy is clearly, like, a master.
Yeah.
Like, he is not hampered by his disability at all.
Right.
He's brilliant. He's a genius.
So what's his fucking deal? This makes me want to know who this person is and why they would be so obsessed with it. I get that. Like, it's kind of like how I I don't like this portrayal. I think it needs to be
it's problematic.
It's problematic. It's kind of like how I felt. We're gonna get into The Witcher a little bit right now.
Okay.
So there's a character who gives up her ability to have children in order to do this weird bodily transformation where she becomes beautiful for court. Already there's some problems there. Mm-hmm. The fact that she has to be fucking beautiful to go to court or whatever. Right. That is a huge issue.
Right.
And then the fact that she gave up her fertility to do this. But the storytelling then cuts to a part where we see that, she never thought she wanted children. Mm-hmm. We never shown that was something that she was truly giving up. It just seemed like an afterthought.
Right.
It wasn't even a, hey, and she, any sort of personal struggle with it. And then later on, we see literally in the next episode, she just really wants a baby and she's trying to figure out any way to get her basically the ability to have children again. And it's but you could adopt.
Right.
You were actually holding a baby that mothers got killed, and then you're running with it. You could just keep that baby because the moms I'm people who've watched Witcher know that's not exactly what happened, but it's I don't like portrayals of things because you no longer have this capability, you are less than. Right. Because that's not good.
No.
I feel like I'm okay, so imagine me as an artisan, and you were trying to see my sculpture is my ability to express my thoughts. It would just be a poo pile.
No.
I can't really sculpt what I'm trying to get out here.
No, that was good. I get what you're saying there, in the sense that it's presenting a completely legitimate way to exist in the world, as though it's missing something.
Right. To me, it was just so frustrating to see this very powerful, very strong, very smart character hung up on the fact that she needs to have a baby because she wants somebody to love her essentially unconditionally. And it's
right. And that's a narrative that exists all over, where it's the career woman realizes later on, but what I really wanted was a family all along.
Or it'll fundamentally change who you are as a person, what I talked about in Being John Malkovich, where it's this terribly manipulative woman has a baby and she changes because of a baby. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't and so to me it just really I'm not saying it's not a realistic portrayal of things that happen.
Yeah.
I think these things are. People get fixated on what they could be or should be, or what they, feeling dysfunctional because we're not functioning like the normal, whatever. I get that.
That's a real thing that people do.
It's a real thing that happen, but we don't need to constantly depict it, because it's how do you distance ourselves from that narrative? Because the only reason why we feel defunct is because
this is what we see.
We're told.
Right.
This character feels defunct.
Right.
Okay.
No, I agree. The issue becomes when not the only, but the dominating narrative becomes this narrative.
Yeah.
Rather than, and then that's why that's what I want to say. A proliferation of representation is important, because
right.
You want that wide variety of narratives.
Right.
Rather than, this is your narrative.
Yes.
Take it
exactly.
And adopt this mindset that is damaging, potentially.
I can't. You're right. What you said's right. I'm now stuck on proliferation because it made me laugh because...
It's a magic thing?
It's a magic thing.
Well, you know what? We've been talking for a while now.
Yeah, we need to get out of here. My brain hurts. Cults.
I think we made our
society.
Point. Did you like this article?
Yeah, I did. It was a good article.
I thought it was really good. It was really, really surprising. And it does... I really like the angle it takes, where it is making two very distinct arguments that come together nicely. that it kind of falls in the same category. To go on a tangent right before we're trying to close, like the recent thing where D&D Wizards released that subclass for
the
clerics, and they had the love domain, and they're just like, I think in my head I imagine somebody at Wizards being like, we're making a love domain. How do you express love mechanically? We've got a charm effect. Just throw a charm effect, not thinking about what that means.
The deeper implications of what that means, yeah.
It feels like something like that probably happened here. Somebody wrote this flavor text and just really didn't think about it. That's not an excuse.
No, because you should have people who can read these things and be like, whoa, that's going on what card?
Whoa, buddy.
Calm down there.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I think there has to be especially special care given when they are making cards that are trying to be more inclusive. They're trying to be more representative. That's a good and noble endeavor, but then they really have to take the time. And I think, this is obvious, but it's something that needs to be done. If you want to represent a person with a disability on a card, talk to people with disabilities to look at it.
Or hire that person to write that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Or consultancies and sensitivity readers and all that stuff.
Totally.
Do it. Hire diverse people to do the things.
That's a great note to end on. Our resident noise musician.
That's what my legs make when I butterfly them.
Like an accordion.
Yeah, don't keep any of this. Cut it all out.
Oh, it's staying.
You always keep everything that I say cut out anyway, so it doesn't even fucking matter. I don't even know why I try to censor myself and give you edit signals, because you leave them in.
That's rule number 1, I think, of editing. When the talent says cut that out, you have to leave it in then.
No, because I know it's garbage.
It's gold.
It's not.
All right, let's get out of here.
I want to go.
Let's get out. We're Red Mage Blue Mage at Red Blue MTG on Twitter. I'm at Wolfmere.
I'm at Rocket Orca. Check me out.
See you next time. Counterspell.
Oh,